Whether you're picking and grinning or just grinning, grab a drink, pull up a seat. It's time for Roots Music Rambler. Turn it up.
Really digging those 60-second record reviews you've been doing
Thanks.
on our Instagram.
Yeah.
It's a fun little change. And I know part of it is because you really taken this deep dive into vinyl. So why don't you tell us about what the heck you were doing on a Friday night in Louisville, Jason?
Digging myself deeper into debt, apparently. Katie and I go to Guest Room Records. She comes over to my house every other weekend, and on Friday or Saturday, either one of those days, we'll go down to Guest Room and browse, because she started to get into vinyl too. When I bought my new stereo, or when Karen, I guess, bought me my new stereo components for Christmas, I gave my smaller Crosby turntable to Katie so she could start playing her vinyls in her room. She was playing them on my old Crosby, and she has all the Taylor Swift albums and all that good stuff. So we go down to Guest Room, and I have purchased a lot of records in the last month or two, but I'm caught up on all the new records that I wanted. So now I'm going and doing a backfill of stuff that I had when I was a kid, or stuff that my parents had that I listened to all the time that I don't have anymore. And so I kind of went in with the mentality, I'm going to go through the dollar bin, and I'm going to go through the used records and, find a bunch of steals, for, $5, $10, whatever. Well, I got outside of my own boundaries, and I dropped about 200 bones on records.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but they had the Drive-By Truckers box set for $26. And I was like, there's no way in hell that's $26 anywhere in the world. So I just grabbed it. I think it had to have been a mistake.
Wow.
And then I was like, well, okay, I got Elton John's greatest hits and some stuff that my mom had. Born in the USA. They had a sealed, original print version of Born in the USA. So I paid a little bit more for that than I probably would have otherwise. And then I just said, well, I'll go back and look through, the Americana country albums just to see what I see. And I realized, oh man, I don't have that Sturgill album. So I bought one of those. And so, I spent too much money.
You could look at it this way. You could have gone out for the night and spent all that money on bourbon drinks.
And
then, all you're left with are the memories. Whereas now
or lack
you've
of
got
memories.
record or lack of, there you go. But now you've got these records that you can listen to over and over and over again.
That's a good point. So yeah, I don't necessarily regret it, and I did find Willie Nelson's Stardust, which Karen has been looking for a long time. So I was able to nab her something good too.
Good.
But yeah, I went crazy a little bit, but I think I have given into the monster that is vinyl collection addiction, because I have spent way more money on vinyl in the last 2 months than I probably ever spent on CDs. Yeah, I've just I got a new turntable and receiver and speakers for Christmas, and I love sitting here listening to music, and I'm just enjoying the vinyl experience again. And so I'm kind of going a little crazy. And I got a bunch of gifts for Christmas too, a bunch of albums. So I've just got a shelf. I had 30 albums. I think I'm up to about 250.
Holy shnikes.
So in the last probably 3 months. So
wow.
But
that addiction is very real.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of people who are really into vinyl. I am not one of those people, and I know we've talked about this before, but I'm not begrudging it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get why it's so appealing, and it's just not. It's not for me, right?
And here's what, for people out there who don't get it, and I know you do, because you're married to Tom, and he loves vinyl too. But for the people out there who don't get it, and if you're roughly our age, you probably dealt with vinyl at some point in your life. But most people have the experience of either CDs or digital music, maybe cassettes. But what it's done for me is it brings back that sort of album specific orientation of a tactile experience. So you're holding this thing in your hand, and you can open it up and look at the pictures and read the lyrics, which you can't always find on digital copies of things. And you can read the liner notes and understand who the band members are. And it's a more enriching experience. And I think there's something to be said too I think there is, not every artist does this, but a lot of artists will intentionally plan their track list out on an album, just like they would plan a set list out at a show. And I think in the digital world, we don't listen to cut 1 and then cut 2 and then cut 3 the way you have to with vinyl. And so it's a different experience. And I think it draws you a little closer to the album, to the songs, and to the band. And I have a much deeper appreciation. I'll give you, this is a stray example. I have a much deeper appreciation for Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit because I've been reading their album notes and reading more about them as I'm experiencing the music than I do, say, Green Day, which is a band that I really have only experienced in digital form. And I don't read the liner notes. I just download or stream or whatever. And I know what I know about them because I've read other articles, but I'm not experiencing the album itself the way you do with vinyl. It's a very different experience.
I can appreciate that. And dating myself, I lived in the era of 8-track tapes. So I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember the vinyl experience and just having that tactile experience. It can be compared to, reading an actual book versus an ebook or even listening as an audiobook.
Yep.
So that was a really good explanation for it. And like I said, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And I still, even with digital music, I still listen from track 1 through to, the end of the record upon first listen. There will be times, sure, that I want to hear a specific song, so I'll just go to it. But at least on the first listen, I always do it from top to bottom.
I think people who remember vinyl experience will do that, but I don't think the younger generations really understand that whole, there's an artistry to the track listing as well. So, and you said you were dating yourself with 8 tracks. I'm pretty sure I'm older than you, but I want to throw this out there.
Just 1 year.
For my probably 9th birthday, I got a jam box, and my jam box had dual cassettes, a turntable on top, and an 8-track deck, and detachable speakers. Like it was
that's lit.
A Run DMC Public Enemy era jam box, man. You could put this thing on your shoulder and walk around the neighborhood, but then you could take the speakers off and look like a real DJ because you had a turntable on top of it. And so I had that, and I think it was my birthday. It might have been Christmas, but whatever, because mine are close together. I got the jam box, and the first quote unquote album I got was an 8-track tape, and it was REO Speedwagon's High Infidelity.
Nice.
And my second was the soundtrack to The Great Muppet Caper.
Holy guacamole.
So I had those on 8-track. So there you go.
Nice.
Fun times.
We're old.
We are. Welcome to Roots Music Rambler. She's Frank.
He's Falls.
And we're rambling on through the stories behind the music we love.
So today on the show, no, I'm not even going to preface it with, I'm just going to say, we're interviewing our daughters, our teen daughters. And what the hell are we thinking?
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun. We talk about them a lot.
Right.
And we talk about, some of the artists that they like Boy Genius and whatnot. And so for those who don't know how the whole interview world works, a lot of times to interview the artists we interview, we might get lucky and see them at a show and have some sort of access to them and kind of arrange it one-on-one, which is a lot easier than the traditional route, which is going through their publicists and PR people, because they get a lot of requests. So they either don't tell the artist at all that there's an opportunity to be on this podcast, or they'll go and say, well, let's do some research and find out what this podcast is. Well, if they do that with ours, we're really young and pretty small because we're so new. So they're not going to put us at on top of the list either. So you kind of have to know somebody or, know somebody who knows somebody to get these people to come on the show. So we're fighting for guests, and we didn't have one scheduled in time to record this episode. So we're beating down the doors trying to get a bunch of different people on the show. But we were like, well, we can't, I don't want to leave, everybody hanging and not have an episode one week. And so Katie, my daughter, turned to me and said, I'll be your guest. And I was just kind of like, you're on. That sounds like a fun idea. And of course, Lucia is going to join us as well. So yeah, our daughters are coming on the show. It's going to be an interesting perspective on music today.
Quite interesting. And I'm going to guess very spirited.
Yeah. So your daughter is, from what I gather, I've only met her in our exchanges as we record the show, but it seems like when the door opens for her to jump into the conversation, she's going to take it and run with it. And
correct.
Katie's a little bit more reserved. Lucia sounds like she's going to kind of go crazy, which is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll talk about it later. We'll see how it goes.
We will.
I'm gonna reserve my comments until after the fact.
We also have been listening to some feedback from other people, some of you, viewers and or listeners about the show, and thinking about, how it's going, looking at all the analytics and stuff like that, just trying to, hey, how are we doing? Are we growing? We are growing. It's good. We're a new podcast. I think this is episode 12, which means we've been around for 24 weeks because we do a new one every 2 weeks. So we're still very, very young, but we're both doing this as just a passion project on the side. Frank teaches school and is a mom of kids and has all sorts of other things going on. And I have a full-time, day job and all that good stuff. And I have kids as well. So we're doing this in our spare time. So we've been listening to some feedback and trying to make some decisions. And what we kind of came up with, and we've talked about this weekend, is we think we really want to just focus on making this a really good audio podcast because for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're talking about music. We're talking about music listeners, and all of you out there who are either watching on YouTube or listening on the audio podcast probably are predisposed to listen to things. And so we want to produce a better audio experience for you. The other thing is doing video adds like 3 or 4 times as much production time to edit and make it look all good and whatnot. And we just don't feel like that's a high priority for us right now. So we're going to shift. We're still going to have some video clips on the internet, but we're really going to focus on the audio podcast. So we want you to go subscribe to that wherever you get your podcasts. It also gives us the freedom to create some more segments. Like as Frank mentioned at the top of the show, I've been doing 60-second album reviews on our Instagram and TikTok feeds, which have been received very well by folks. Well, we can have a segment where we go into a little bit more depth about those albums and talk about albums specifically. We can talk about the concerts we go to a little bit more specifically. We might interview more people, but for less time. So we'll have like a 10-minute interview with a couple of people in an episode because we'll have easier access to them if it's audio only. So just a couple of tweaks. We know that you guys are going to follow along and enjoy what we do, and we love your feedback. So just moving forward, we're not going to have the full episodes on YouTube anymore. We'll have some clips and some segments. They'll still be there, but we're going to really focus on just making this thing sound great. And the FCC sent us a notification that I have a face for radio. So there you go.
And I'm allergic to video.
From day one, Frank's been like, I don't want to do this video thing. Nope, I don't want to do this video thing.
So I am so relieved.
Well,
not that I don't want to see your face every time, but
oh yeah.
Whoo boy.
We're still going to do video. There might not be as the theatrical lighting may go away, or at least not be as prominent. And we're not going to, put the whole thing up on the internet for people to see. It'll be just clips and segments and whatnot. But I think that'll allow you guys and gals out there listening to come into a more intimate personal experience with audio, because you're going to be sitting here with us as we talk. And so I think you'll appreciate that better. Plus, I can make it sound better than it sounds on YouTube that way too. So yes. Fun stuff.
I think
there we go.
I'm excited. I think it'll be good. It'll be a nice change.
It will. We're also still going to do our Pickin and Grinnin segment. People like that one where we share our picks for the people and artists whose music are making us grin. This week, it might be new artists, might be old, but they will sure be good.
As always. And before we kick it all off today.
Yeah, we need a little review because I found out through both you and Tom in the last couple of days here, you went to another Nathan Graham show. And I think booked him for your birthday. You got to tell us this story.
Yeah. Okay. So as of the time of this recording, the details are still they're still up in the air as far as I know. I don't know what Tom's got going on behind the scenes, and I don't know if I want to know. He means well. He has such a big heart, and he's trying everything that he can to make my birthday spectacular because not only is it my birthday, but it's a giant milestone birthday.
She's 50.
50. Gonna be. I'm not 50 yet. I got another week, bro. Let me have it.
I'm already 50. You ain't got nothing to look forward to.
I know. But by the time this airs, I will be 50. So anyway, last October when I went to Nathan Graham's record release show, after several pints of beer, and when the show was over, my friends and I were just hanging around and Nathan was going back and forth. And so I'm yelling at him across the venue in Fitzgerald. I'm like, Nathan, you're going to play my 50th birthday party, right? And he's like, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll do it. And then I'm like, no, bro, I'm serious. I'm like, I'm turning 50 in February. And he didn't believe me. So then I was joking. Okay, that was a joke. And then I found out that Tom had actually messaged him to see if he would play. And I don't know if there was some uncertainty about his schedule or whatnot. So Nathan just started a winter residency at Fitzgerald's nightclub. And you guys are probably tired of me talking about that place too, but it's so iconic. So he's doing 4 nights. So far, there's been 1, and that was just this past Thursday. So Tom and I, we reserved a table. So we got to sit right up in front. I didn't want to because I didn't want to be like that girl. But Tom, he's like, no, let's sit right in front. I'm like, fine. So we did. And the show was really good. And because it's a residency, like Nathan's got a lot of creative freedom. It wasn't set up like a traditional just show, right? So he came out first with just his acoustic guitar and said that he was going to play just some songs that have influenced him over the years. And he didn't have a set list. He didn't know what he was going to play. And, he was telling lots of stories and, stuff that I didn't know or I hadn't heard. So it was very interesting and engaging. So I don't know what prompted him to say this, but he said to the whole crowd, he's like, yeah, Tom and Francesca here are probably my biggest fans. And I was like, oh my God. So he started with that. And then he gave us a nice little plug, our little podcast, and said that he wears his Roots Music Rambler t-shirt all the time, but I don't know if I believe
I was going to
that.
say, we need some pictures of that one there, Nathan.
Pictures didn't happen.
Proof. We need proof.
Right. But still, that was very nice of him. And then later on in the show, so he finished his acoustic set, and then he came back out after a bit with his band. And he came out on the stage, and the first thing he did was to wish me a happy birthday. And then he launched into Pride, which is my favorite song of his. Mm-hmm. And so later, I don't know if it was right after that song or a little bit later, he looked at Tom and he's like, oh yeah, I got your message. He's like, I'll play for her birthday. And I'm like, is this real life? What is going on here?
That's great.
My jaw literally dropped, and I didn't know if I should get up and celebrate or if I should crawl under the table and hide. And I really, really, really don't like being in the spotlight. Obviously, I'm allergic to video. So I was just kind of like with my mouth wide open. I'm just looking around the room and I'm like, is this really happening?
Mm-hmm.
A lady across the bar, she's like, way to go, Francesca! And I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah. And then we talked to him after the show and he's like, I'll just come play. I'll do it.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm stressing because I'm like, well, how are we going to make this happen? Logistically, how are we going to make this happen?
Tom.
Yeah.
Tom, make it happen, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, it would be the best birthday ever.
Yeah.
And I understand if it can't happen due to logistics, and it's only a week away. So I don't want anybody to feel any sort of pressure.
Well, I'm sure everything's going to be great.
It was still like a highlight, and I will never forget it. And and Nathan also did tell me previously that I can be his gatekeeper. So if he doesn't end up playing for my birthday, at least I have that as well.
There you go. That's awesome. Well, and if anybody out there listening is new to the show and doesn't know who Nathan Graham is, I believe he was episode 3, maybe, or 5.
Later, 4,
5 or 6, something like that.
An early one.
He's back in there. We'll put a link in the old show notes to make sure you can go back and listen to him. Got a great new album out. It's not brand new anymore. It's a few months old now, but his debut album is out and it's fantastic.
Yeah, Saint of Second Chances is the album, and he's going to be going out on tour soon with Lily Hyatt.
Awesome. And I've told him a dozen times, if you don't come to Louisville, I'm going to hunt you down. So he better come at least close so I can go see him. Because I've got the next 6 months of my life are like so many concerts and so many shows. I'm going to see almost everybody I want to see. And Nathan's one of the people I don't have on my list because he hasn't done all the dates yet. So I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of concerts, everybody who watches this show or knows me knows I'm super proud to be a Kentuckian. I'm a Kentuckian. I was actually born in Southern West Virginia, but I moved to Kentucky when I was 4 years old. I've lived here most of my life. I love Kentucky for a lot of reasons. There are some reasons I don't like it. Yes.
Sure.
We all have those, but I love being from Kentucky. And I have to just take a moment to step out and brag a little bit because not only do we have Railbird in Lexington, Kentucky, which is coming up the first weekend of June, but we also have a festival in Louisville called Louder Than Life, which is more heavy metal rock bands. And then we have Bourbon and Beyond. And we have Forecastle Festival. There's a high concentration of great music festivals here. And the combination of Railbird and Bourbon and Beyond, those lineups have recently been announced. And if you're not going to one or both of those, you're missing an opportunity to see just about everybody you probably want to see, because those lineups are insane. So Railbird, which I have tickets for Karen and I to go, and we invested a little bit more to do the VIP thing because I don't think either one of us are the age where we want to be standing out in the hot sun all damn day. It's at the Red Mile Harness Track in Lexington, Kentucky, and it is the first weekend in June. And here's the list of people that I'm going to go see at the Railbird: Noah Kahn, Turnpike Troubadours,
Jealous.
Counting Crows, Winona Judd, Marcus King, Trampled by Turtles. I'm skipping a few here. Let's see who is Chris Stapleton. Heard of him.
Jealous.
Hosier. Hello. Lord Huron. Dwight Yoakam for like the 9th time. Elle King, if she can stand up at that point. Red Clay Strays will be there. Allison Russell. Brent Cobb, one of my favorite new artists. Oh my goodness, he's good. Dave Cobb's cousin, by the way. And there's a bunch of others on here. And so that's a 2-day festival, Saturday and Sunday, June 1st and 2nd in Lexington, Kentucky. And then just this week, they announced Bourbon and Beyond. And what was your reaction to that, Frank? I think you kind of flipped out, didn't you?
Oh my God, that was my reaction. I have never seen, I'm not going to say never, but it's stacked, right? That lineup is phenomenal. And I have friends who go to that festival every year, and they don't live in Kentucky. Well, one of them lives in Tennessee, I believe, but they're always, I've been asked to go with them, and I just haven't been able to. But oh my God, if I could make it this year, it would be mind blowing. I mean, so we've got Tyler Childers.
Let's count off how many people you would pay to go see individually.
Individually,
right?
Okay.
So we got here's the lineup: Tyler Childers,
yes,
right? Zach Bryan,
yes,
not bad, yeah, go see him. Dave Matthews Band, you either love them or you hate them. I happen to like them; they're fine.
Yeah, I'm over them.
Pardon me while I take a knee and bow. Neil fucking Young, hello. Beck,
yeah, I do love Beck.
Matchbox 20, okay. The National, I Need a Nap. Hello, in Louisville, My Morning Jacket.
I know.
Holy
oh my God.
crap.
Just so you know, you're saying My Morning Jacket, and I got the chills.
Yeah.
Because I love me some Jim James, and I would do that in a heartbeat.
Well, they're from here. So yes. I've seen them play the Forecastle Festival here. I've also seen them play at Iroquois Amphitheater here in town. So I've seen them play in town a couple times. And I've had a couple of nascent run-ins with members of the band. I was at a Christmas party once, and Pat, the drummer, and his wife is friends with the wife of the person throwing the Christmas party, and they came. And I passed them as I was leaving. They were coming in. So I said hello. That's about it.
Yeah.
I did meet him at Forecastle one year. He was doing celebrity bourbon tasting. So I got to say hi and talk to him for a few minutes. And then I was actually just in a random coffee shop here in Louisville one day. It's a coffee shop. It's named Please and Thank You. It's down in Nulu. And I look up, and it was a coffee shop that also had a small amount of vinyl records. And so people would come in and browse through the records. I look up, and Jim James is standing there going through the records with two friends. And I was like, oh shit. And this was like right in the middle of like Circuital was out and was a big album at the time. And they were just coming off, a huge tour. And he was just there. He got into a beat up pickup truck and drove off afterwards. I was like, holy, I didn't say anything to him. I didn't want to bother him, but
I would have died.
Yeah. He went to high school with a friend of mine. So I've heard some stories about him.
Okay.
So the acts that I read off there, that's the first two lines of of the long list of the 20 lines of acts that are going to be at this thing. So let me quickly go through a couple more. Whiskey Myers, who I've been listening to a lot lately. We'll talk about them more in the Pickin the Grinnin segment. Cody Jinks, Tedeschi Trucks Band, The War on Drugs, Black Pumas, who I've recently started listening to, who are fantastic.
They're great. Yes.
This one's a little weird, but it's here. The Beach Boys. Okay.
I thought that too when I read that. I'm like, wait, what? And I had to go back and read it because I thought maybe I misread it, like it was something else. And I'm like, okay, it's the Beach Boys. All right.
For a long time, you know who their regular drummer has been?
No.
John Stamos.
No kidding.
No kidding.
The John Stamos.
He doesn't do every show. Like I don't think he tours with them like permanently, but like he drums for the Beach Boys. Look it up.
No kidding. Wow. Fun fact.
Mountain Joy is also on the lineup. Maren Morris, Chris Isaac. Hello. Melissa Etheridge. She's on the 5th line of acts. Holy crap. Oh my God. Lyle Lovett, Sierra Farrell.
Okay.
Charles Wesley Godwin. I mean,
Sierra is on my list. She is so stinking talented. I mean, that girl, I would go see her by herself. She's actually got 2 shows in Chicago in April, and they're both sold out. And I don't have a ticket.
I mean, the Wallflowers, Bruce Hornsby and the Noisemakers. I mean, I'm just grasping at straws here. Patty Smythe. I mean, they're just holy mother of goodness gracious. This is amazing. There's so many great acts on here. It's kind of hard to imagine that they can fit all of these people on 2 or 3 stages over the course of a couple of days.
Yes.
And I always love you're going down through the acts and you see someone that like, you scratch your head like, what the hell are they doing on here? It's usually somebody like Ludacris or something. You're like, what? But I don't think Ludacris is on the list. Anyway, so Bourbon Beyond, and I believe I think that's in September.
September, yeah.
But
you missed one though.
What's that?
You missed a big one.
Who did I miss?
Well, for me, it's a big one.
Well, who was it?
Sunvolt.
Oh, that's right. Sunvolt's there. I did look at the lineup very quickly, and Soul Asylum's also there. So here you go.
Oh.
But I did look at the lineup very quickly, and I wasn't real thrilled with the schedule because Saturday there's not as many bands that I want to see. It's like I can just cram a bunch of stuff in on Friday and or Sunday, but then Sunvolt's really the only band on Saturday that I was like, oh yeah, I got to go see them. So I'm not sure if I'm going to buy tickets or not. I'm sure my family and Karen will pester me enough to buy them, but that's
maybe
fine.
Somebody will buy me a ticket.
Well, maybe we can figure that out. So
yeah,
or maybe
we got time.
We need the show to be big enough so they give us media passes. That's what we need.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we'll work on that. Maybe not this year.
All right.
But anyway. So my chest is pumping out a little bit here because Kentucky's got some damn good music festivals. Not to say that others aren't good, but holy man, we do it right down here in the Bluegrass State. If you want to come drink some bourbon and watch some good music, we got you covered. There you have it.
All my favorite things.
There you go. Speaking of bourbon, we are sipping on a bourbon and I'm out. So we're going to take a quick break here and step out for a moment. Take a minute, if you will, and listen to more from our great sponsors, including our wonderful folks at Muskox, the best flannels in the whole wide world. I now have 4 or 5 of these. I lost count and they're fantastic. So go get you a Muskox at gomuskox.com/Rambler and then use the code Rambler to get a discount. When we come back, buckle up. We're going to answer the question, does Wilco suck? This is Roots Music Rambler. Hey, gang, I was not a flannel guy until I found Muskox flannels. Now, I don't want to wear anything else. Well, I mean, pants, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so Muskox is a premium flannel shirt that comes in various colors and styles, but also all season or heavy. So they have different weights and thicknesses. They even have sizes that fit big boys like me. Now, Frank, I hear the ladies like the flannel look. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. So one Muskox flannels customer actually said they are buttery soft, but built like a tank. I resemble that remark, especially when I'm wearing my Muskox flannels. They also, by the way, give $10 of every $100 order to support wildlife conservation. So you're doing some good for the earth and the animals on it with every purchase. Visit gomuskox.com/Rambler, browse the collection and get you some buttery soft, built like a tank premium flannels. Make sure you use the code Rambler, all caps, and get the discount on your order. That's gomuskox.com/Rambler. Use the code Rambler, buttery soft, yo. That might be my new hashtag. Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. We are, doing some experimentation with our segments in this episode, as you will hear later as we interview our daughters and all that good stuff. But we've started the conversation on this show a couple times about my contemplations around the band Wilco. Now, this was all sort of surfaced as I was reviewing the best albums list of 2023 from WFPK, which I am wearing their t-shirt today. And Wilco's cousin is on the list. And I know Wilco has a loyal fan base and they've got a lot of people that love them. And I am not normally someone who likes to be negative about bands. And I'm not trying to be negative about Wilco here. But I do think my experience with their music, which is limited, I'll admit that, especially the last few albums, I've been listening more to the most recent stuff, not necessarily going back and going through their archives, although I've done a little bit of research coming into this show today. We have to answer the question because I have been asking the question of my friends, does Wilco suck? Because I'm not convinced I know the answer to that question. I'll put it, that's the nicest way I can put it. So, Francesca,
yes,
who is taking a deep breath so you can see, if you're seeing the video, you can see her Wilco shirt that she has on. Francesca, I need you to tell me why they do or don't. What's your opinion and give me what you think about Wilco, and then I'm going to do everyone a favor and make this a lot more fun and tell you what I think of some of their songs. So, does Wilco suck?
Are you saying that my take isn't going to be fun?
It might be. I don't know. I'm just saying mine's going to be a lot more fun. I got some lines here. This is going to be good. So, but you go ahead. Tell me if Wilco sucks or not.
Okay. So, my relationship with Wilco is complicated.
Okay.
It's no secret that I have an affinity for the Americana, roots rock, alt country genre, whichever label you want to place on it. Okay. And for me, it started in the mid 90s. And when I found the band Sunvolt. Now, it was early enough in Sunvolt's existence to know that Jay Farrar, the frontman for Sunvolt, was in another band called Uncle Tupelo with Jeff Tweedy, the frontman for Wilco.
Mm-hmm.
So Jay and Jeff were simultaneously getting their new bands going. Okay. I first heard Sunvolt and fell in love, and then I started listening to Wilco. Now, mind you, this is the mid 90s. Digital music is not a thing unless you do it illegally.
Yep.
To hear the music you really had to seek it out. And there's one radio station in Chicago that would play Sunvolt and Wilco, but not very frequently, especially at that time. So I sought out the music, and Wilco's first album is called AM, and that came out in 1995, and I freaking loved it. I still love it.
Okay.
I was like, yes, this is fantastic, right? It really has that alt country sound, the spirit of alt country. And if you know anything about Uncle Tupelo, that was their sound, right? And with a little punk thrown in, but then there was also some really good and like deep philosophical folk stuff that was thrown in. Uncle Tupelo is it's a shame that they didn't last longer.
I will agree with you there. Uncle Tupelo is fantastic. I've listened, I think they have 4 albums maybe, and I've listened to each of them. I really like their stuff. Uncle Tupelo, and obviously, historically speaking, a linchpin in the evolution to alt country and even the Americana category in general. I think they were instrumental in sort of bringing a lot of people over to this. Hey, it doesn't have to be rock. It doesn't have to be country. It can be somewhere in the middle, and we can have a lot of other influences. So historical significance, no doubt. Uncle Tupelo, fantastic. All right, proceed.
Yes. Okay, so, the linchpin, like you said, and then so now you've got this one entity that is now 2.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever something like that happens, of course, there's going to be a divide, right? And it wasn't long before people were Team Jay or Team Jeff. And I kind of found myself, I was in the middle, but I leaned slightly towards Jay, Farrar that is, and Sunvolt. So then I got to see Wilco a few times in those early days, and little venues in Chicago, fantastic. And then Being There came out. That's the next album. And that one, again, a banger. Loved every track on it. It still had that really good Americana alt country, that twang that I really loved at the time and still do. Okay. And then things happened. Things changed. There was a rift between Jeff Tweedy and Jay Bennett, a former member of the band. They had creative differences. I don't claim to be an expert on the conflict. However, from what I can understand, Jay Bennett wanted to sort of keep the same direction with Wilco's music, and Jeff wanted to experiment a little bit more. Okay. And so that's what ultimately led to their separation.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Wilco really got experimental.
Yeah.
That's when they lost me. I will say Summer Teeth. What did that come out? 2000, 2001?
99.
2000. 99.
Yeah.
Okay. So Summer Teeth was okay. And then Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, which so many Wilco people love, like they feel like that's their best album ever. I could not get into it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. Ever since then, I'll be honest, I haven't even tried to get into their newer stuff.
Okay.
Oh, and we have to mention too, Mermaid Avenue, the Woody Guthrie tribute thing that they did, project that they did with Billy Bragg.
Yep.
And if you remember from a past episode, I talked about the song California Stars that is from that album that made me cry the first time I heard it. So yes, I love that album as well. But a few years ago, maybe I don't know how long it's been. I'm so old. But anyway, I got tickets to see Wilco. So in more recent times, after Summer Teeth, and actually, I think it was after Sky Blue Sky. Like, I can't even remember which album had just come out.
Okay.
But Wilco did like a 4-night run at the Chicago Theater. And I got tickets as my birthday present. And I mean, even though I didn't know a lot of the stuff, I still enjoyed it.
Okay.
Right. The live show was still really good. And Chicago Theater is just a gorgeous venue. Really awesome acoustics. So since then, I'll say between Summer Teeth and Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, they lost me.
Yep.
And it's to the point now where if I hear Wilco, like with my satellite radio or random playlists I have on, if a Wilco song comes on, I tend to skip it.
Yep.
Unless it's one of their earlier ones, especially from AM. That to me was their best.
So your narrative there on your relationship with Wilco and how you've sort of migrated away from them, I guess, gradually over the years is not uncommon. I've talked to a good dozen or more people since I started talking about Wilco and asking, why would anybody buy it? I did not like their newest album. And that
Cousin?
was really, Cousin. And that was the first Wilco album that I really listened to front to back with the intent of, I want to understand this album. I want to understand the band. And I just didn't care for it. I didn't think it was terrible, but I always say, even if I don't like an album, somebody out there does, and it's meaningful to someone. So I'm not going to crap on it, but I didn't personally care for it. And I started asking the question kind of sarcastically, a little bit like, well, who listens to this stuff? Like, I don't get it. And that's what caused this consternation and conversation. But I had several conversations and it was very similar. Man, they were really good when they first came out. And then they kind of started to get soft. That's what I kept hearing from people. And it was really the summary of this whole thing actually manifested itself. I got tagged into a Facebook post by a friend of mine because I posted something on Facebook one day and said, can someone explain Wilco to me? I don't get them. And a couple of people tried to chime in, but they don't know how to explain music, I guess. And nobody was convincing me. And then I got tagged by a friend in a Facebook post by Michael Young. Now, Michael Young hosts a show on WFPK here in Louisville on Sunday afternoons called Roots and Boots. It's a great show. The people who listen to this podcast would love it. You can stream it live. It's 3:00 on Sundays on WFPK online. Just Google Michael Young Roots and Boots and you'll find it. I love the show. Try to listen to it live every week. Anyway, and he posted on Facebook, Wilco was a more interesting band before they traded reckless rock for controlled quiet. They just never go off the rails anymore, and I think that's kind of sad. And that's a direct quote from Michael Young on Facebook. And I got tagged in there because I was asking someone to, asking my friends to explain Wilco to me. And that is kind of the general explanation that I've heard from everybody. It's like they used to, rock it out and be really good, and they've gone really, really soft. So I, unfortunately, for my overall opinion of Wilco, I've started listening to them in reverse chronological order. So I'm hearing the soft stuff first. Which is like, is this
quote unquote soft stuff?
is this yacht rock? I mean, what is this Captain and Tennille? What the hell am I listening to? And so, but in fairness to Wilco and to this conversation and to our audience members out there, certainly who love Wilco, I decided, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to listen to every album. Can't do that. But I'm going to go back and look at there's a list on Wikipedia of all of their singles that have charted somewhere.
Yeah.
So I forced myself to, that's a little too biased. It's not, I don't mean to say I forced myself. I went through and listened to all of their singles that have charted at some point. It's a healthy list. They've been around a while.
Yeah.
They're obviously an accomplished band. And when I say charted, it's not just the country charts. It's like the AAA Americana charts in the UK, etc. They have a lot of singles that have charted over the years. Not surprisingly, I found several that I put on my Americana playlist. So I don't hate them, right? I have 7 songs that I was like, hey, I like that. I could listen to that over and over again. I'll put that on my playlist out of the 20 or so that have charted, or maybe it's more than that. But anyway, not surprisingly, all 7 pretty much are from the first half of their career, I think. So I'll pick out a couple here, and then I want to tell you why I think the last several years, when they've gone quote unquote soft, why I think I don't like them. I'm not trying to judge them for other people. I definitely encourage you, if you haven't heard Wilco, go experience them yourself and make that determination for yourself. And I'm not trying to insult Jeff Tweedy or anything. I'm not trying to piss anybody off here. And I will say definitively the answer is Wilco doesn't suck. They might suck more now than they used to, but they don't suck overall. Okay? So.
Such a diplomatic way to put it.
I'm just trying not to get shot. That's why I'm being diplomatic. Their first charted single was, I think, from Being There. It's called Out of Sight, Out of Mind. And I thought that was a good rockin' tune, fun, lively. Check mark, put that on the playlist. The second song that charted was called Can't Stand It. And my notes there were, this is a really funky melody. I like this. Yeah. This is good. Check mark.
I don't hate that one.
Put it on the list. The next 4 songs that charted, here's my notes. Secret of the Sea. That's one of the ones with Billy Bragg, I believe. I said it's not terrible, but it's not something that I necessarily care for. Heavy Metal Drummer. Here's my notes from Heavy Metal Drummer. Buckle up, Wilco fans. Boy. Here we go. Shitty song with a decent beat and sound effects. That's what I put for that song. I'm a Wheel. Sounds like what happens when Devo has a baby with fish. Not my thing. Not going to like that one. Theologians. Decent melody. But this is where the vocals start to lose me. Not the lyrics, the vocals. Now, they did a nice rebound here. The next 4 out of 5 charted singles I liked. What Light?
That's really good.
Yeah. And I put a note there that I'll come back to on that song, because the point that I want to make on that song is a great way to close out this conversation. You Never Know. That was their only number 1 hit on the AAA charts. And I just wrote yes, exclamation point. So very driving song, really good bass. I love the piano. Really sounded like a complete kind of rock and roll band. I thought that was a really good song. You Never Know. I liked that one. That was probably my favorite of all of theirs. It was a number 1 hit. Should be my favorite. Not trying to follow the crowd, but I just liked the song. The song I Might. I said, good start, interesting sound, love the bass, nice melodic lead up. But I didn't make any notes about anything else in the song. So I don't think it lost me, but that's what I wrote. The next one was Speak Into the Rose. And my notes on that is, this a fucking arcade game? This is what parents hear when they hate their kids' music. Oh my God. So that song was not my favorite. Speak Into the Rose. I want to say that's the one where the first 4 minutes are all instrumental, or maybe there's no lyrics in it at all, because I stopped it. I was like, I can't listen. This is fucking Pac-Man. I can't listen to this. Pac-Man. All right. My personal opinion, I'm not saying just.
No, I'm enjoying this.
The next one dawned on me is the last one that I put on my playlist.
Okay.
I said, it's not bad. And I say, it's got a really good rhythm. The guitar solo is out of place, but I liked the rhythm. I liked the song. That's the last one I put on my list. The rest of them, Random Name Generator. I said, I don't hate it. And then he starts singing. And then if I ever was a child, can he whisper the vocals any softer? The music is good. Love is Everywhere. I just wrote no. Everyone Hides. The music is interesting. The vocals are almost good. Falling Apart right now. Music is interesting. Vocals are almost good. But he actually tries to sing a little. So that one was a different thing there. And then the 2 off of Cousin that I wrote down that charted, Evicted. I like the music. Then he starts singing. The lyrics were decent. I like the lyrics. Didn't like the vocal performance. And then Meant to Be, which is one of the ones that I've heard kind of over and over again. It's getting a lot of radio airplay. I said decent melody and tune. but I did not put it on my list. No, I did put it on my list. So I did put that one on my list because it's been repetitive. All right. So there were a couple songs, did not like at all. There were a handful of songs I did like, I put on my list. So I'm kind of in the middle on them. It just depends, I guess. But here's what I ultimately came down to. I'll make this point. I'll let you react. And then I want to go back to what light, because I think it's a nice way to wrap this up. My final thing that I wrote down as I was taking notes on all these songs, I just don't like Tweedy's vocals. He speaks low volume to cover the fact he has no range. It sounds like the guy singing along to his headphones on a bus, thinking no one can hear him, but we all can. And so and I'm sorry, Jeff Tweedy, if you ever hear this, your vocals have gotten to the point where you're just I can't get into it. The music is actually really good for the most part. The lyrics are actually really interesting for the most part. It's the vocal performance that throws me off. And so that's why when I hear Wilco, I'm like, why does anybody listen to this? Your thoughts?
Okay, that was very entertaining. Okay, so my thoughts on your thoughts.
Okay.
Let me see here. I was going to comment. First of all, I like the song Evicted. That's one from their latest cousin that I actually enjoy, and it's been getting a lot of airplay here in Chicago. And Wilco is based in Chicago. So,
Right.
Of course, they're the local heroes, local favorites. And that's really hard too, being in Chicago and trying to have a discussion with people who know music and even people who don't. They're like, how could you not like Wilco? They're from here. And I'm like, well, technically, no, they're not from here. Okay. Jeff comes from Belleville, Illinois, but we'll save that for another time. But I get what you're saying about Jeff's vocals, and they're not for me as well. Okay. And this kind of goes back to Michael Young's statement about how Wilco doesn't really go off the rails anymore. And part of why I like their earlier stuff so much, in addition to the twang and all that, is because it was just like Jeff was he was singing, right? Like he was like putting in, I don't want to say effort because that's not accurate, but like it was way more lively.
It's more passion.
I
think there's more passion in it. Like his lyrics now, or his vocal performance, not lyrics, his vocal performance now is kind of like, I'm an old man and I'm just going to sing it this way because I'm tired and I'm not as passionate about it anymore.
Yeah. And
back then it was more emotion filled, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And okay, like you said, he was a lot younger. So, and having just separated from Jay Farrar and Uncle Tupelo. Okay, so Jeff Tweedy, we agree that his current vocals are not for us. That leads me, I feel like I have to comment then on Jay Farrar and his vocals. They're not for everyone.
Okay.
In my previous job, and when my coworkers would allow me to play music in the office, when I put on Sunvolt, they all groaned. And one of my supervisors referred to it as suicide music. So that just gives you an idea on what they thought about Jay Farrar's vocals. Again, not for everyone. And even I love Jay. I love him with all my heart. He is my music god. But even sometimes, I can only handle so much.
Okay. That's fair.
And yeah, it is fair. And, he got really experimental for a time too. He had a lot of his solo stuff, very experimental and not true, but not traditional Sunvolty kind of stuff. So, you can't talk about Jeff Tweedy's vocals without mentioning Jay Farrar's, because again, whenever you talk about Wilco and or Sunvolt, the other group is going to get mentioned.
Understood.
And, you said no disrespect to Jeff Tweedy, and I fully support that. I will always respect Jeff Tweedy for his talent and for making music. There's the longevity, right? You can't deny that. And it just isn't all for me, and it's not all for you.
That's true.
But there was a time in my life when I would go out of my way to, find Jeff Tweedy and Wilco. I remember it had to have been, it was 1998, and they did an in-store appearance at the Old Tower Records on Clark Street in Diversey, I believe.
Nice.
And I sat outside and waited in line. I was by myself, no cell phone, waited in line for a couple of hours just to get an autograph.
Nice.
And this is it. Can you
There
see
you
it?
go. How about
Okay,
that?
so yeah. So I have it. It's a bumper sticker, but I haven't put it on anything because I don't want to ruin it.
Sure.
And then I also have another one that was always hanging in my apartment when I was single, but
Very good.
Yeah. And I have to talk about AM. So the song Casino Queen on AM is holy shit. It's a banger, right? And it's a good tie-in to a reaction that Tom had after our last episode with Sarah Jean Stevens when we were talking about if we'd ever been in a band or anything. I completely forgot to mention that I was on stage once with the band Vandaliers.
Oh, nice.
And I got to play cowbell, and there is video of that on the internets. Okay. But they were covering Casino Queen.
Nice.
And when they started it, I lost my fucking mind.
Nice.
I'm like, yes, Wilco, Casino Queen, woo. And so then they're like, come on. So I got up on stage, handed me a cowbell, and away I went. Because that song is, to me, that's Wilco.
Okay. We need more cowbell.
Exactly.
So to tie all this together, in all fairness to Mr. Tweedy and Wilco, I mentioned the song What Light which charted for them. And I wanted to come back to this because I think this ties it together nicely. And I think this is a really good philosophy for Roots Music Rambler. We may be critical or may say something that might seem disrespectful about a song or something like that as we offer up our opinions of these things. But I believe the first line of What Light is, if you're trying to write a song, sing what you feel. Don't let someone say it's wrong. And so Jeff Tweedy's very own words bring a nice little tying the loose ends together on this, because it's not my place to say he's wrong or these songs are terrible or bad. I don't happen to like them, and that's okay. I'm allowed to have that opinion. You're allowed to have the opinion that they're good, bad, or indifferent too. But I think definitively we can decide that Wilco doesn't suck. There you go. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to necessarily run out and buy their next album, but I'll give it a shot because there might be some hidden gems on there. You never know. And if you subscribe to my Americana playlist, which is a public playlist you can subscribe to, it's over 500 songs and growing on Spotify, there are now at least 7 Wilco songs on there. So have at it. We'll put the link in the show notes so you can see that. All right, it's time we step out for another break here on the show. When we come back, continue your buckling up, kids. Francesca and I interview our respective daughters. This is Roots Music Rambler. Hey, Ramblers, I have experienced a revolution in sound in my house, and you can too. The revolution is driven by Sonos. The Sonos wireless music system lets you play any song in any room, control it all with the Sonos app on your phone or tablet. Sonos has all the connections to give you millions of songs and stations, including connecting to your iTunes, your Spotify, Pandora, and more. Get a wireless Sonos player and hear the sound quality difference. Then get one for all the rooms in your house where you listen, but might be out of reach of the stereo or Bluetooth speaker you normally use. So I've got one in my bedroom and bathroom for when I get ready in the morning. I've got one in the kitchen and living room for when I'm hanging out with friends. And then down here in the office den for when I'm working or setting up for another episode of the show. I happen to like the Sonos Move, which is one of the speaker models. I can put it out on my patio for cookouts. It's a weather-resistant design, has an 11-hour battery life, so I don't need to plug it in out there when I have people over for cookouts or tailgates or whatever. And I can play music on all or just a few of the speakers, so I never lose my jams going from room to room. Try the Move and hear the difference, then hook up all the rooms in your house for an excellent listening experience while you move around cleaning or dancing or whatever you do in the privacy of your own home. Listen to Roots Music Rambler on it, for God's sakes. It makes me sound even more handsome. Go to rootsmusic.link/Sonos, S-O-N-O-S, rootsmusic.link/Sonos. That'll take you right to the Sonos Move speaker page to purchase. I highly recommend it, and you'll love how much better your music and podcasts sound. Go to rootsmusic.link/Sonos. That's rootsmusic.link/Sonos. I don't know why Frank and I thought this would be a good idea, but today on the show, we're interviewing our respective daughters. So this is Katie Falls. And that is...
Lucia.
That is Lucia.
It's like Cher, right? Just...
Uh-huh. All right. So I think the first thing, I'm going to start out by asking Lucia to tell me a little bit more. Now, here's the ground rules when we start out. For the time being, let's skip Boy Genius and let's skip Taylor Swift.
Oh, I don't like Taylor Swift.
Those are givens. Oh, you don't like Taylor Swift. Okay, well,
no.
then we'll have a throwdown, cage match at the end. But skip those for now and tell me what artists you like most, who you listen to.
Lovejoy.
That's it? Just one?
Oh, no. Okay. Sorry. That's just who came to me first. Lovejoy. Ooh, let's pull up my Spotify playlist.
Okay. Yeah. Pull up your Spotify playlist. That's fine. There's nothing wrong.
Lovejoy, TV Girl. I've really been into Leith Ross lately.
Leith or Laith?
I don't know.
I thought it was Laith.
Okay.
Adrienne
Lenker, Big Thief. All of them.
Okay. Katie?
Okay. Gracie Abrams, because she's the love of my life. Phoebe Bridgers. Well, wait, does Phoebe count?
You can mention Phoebe. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. We get it.
Alex Page, Claro. I've been getting into Lizzie McAlpine recently. Tate McRae, Olivia Rodrigo.
Okay. I know who 3 or 4 of those people are.
Same.
So
I feel like Noah Kahn.
Well, yeah.
I forgot him. I feel bad.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
All right. So, Lucia, here's my next question for you, and then I'll let Frank ask some questions too. But what I want to know, Lucia, is of your friends at school, the people that you know, the people that you hang out with, kind of your little group, whatever group you have, does everybody like the same people in general, or are there some people who like different folks and have kind of outlying interests?
Okay, so my little group, we've got 3 people, including me. My one close friend is very much into Boy Genius. We have very similar tastes in music. My other friend, though, she's like Lil Peep and like really, really big jump.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. Yeah, we don't know what that means. So you might want to explain what Lil Peep is.
I'm not the person to ask.
It's like going from sad indie teenage angst to pop rock teenage angst.
Oh, so like going from Gracie Abrams to Avril Lavigne, maybe?
Well, not even teenage angst. Lil Peep is like, I don't even know how to describe his music.
It sounds like a hip hop artist. Is it a hip hop artist?
Yeah, it's like hip hop rap.
Okay. All right. Yeah. If you're
like Grant would listen to Lil Peep.
If you can't spell little, then you're a rap artist.
Yeah.
That's how that works. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you have a friend who's into Lil Peep.
That's just one example. She likes like corn and
oh wow.
not the food that comes in a can.
I got you with a K. I got you. And a backwards R. Okay. We like that.
Rather different.
Very good. What about you, Katie? What are your friends like? Since you won't bring them around and introduce them to me, what are they like?
My friends, I feel like there's kind of an overlaying, like most of my friends like Taylor Swift. Most of my friends have like some artist in common with me, but other than that, everyone likes something different. Like I have one friend who likes Alec Benjamin and The Neighborhood and a couple other bands. And then one of my friends likes Ella Fitzgerald and Lady Gaga and Beyonce and like older like not old, but older.
Well, Ella Fitzgerald's pretty old even for me.
Ella Fitzgerald is old, but like other, like not modern, whatever. Anyways. And then other ones of my friends like purely listen to rap. So
Catholic schoolgirls.
Yeah.
Gangster rap. That's what they're going down with. That's good.
That sounds familiar.
It's a really interesting mix of people at my school. That's for sure.
Well, sure. Okay.
You'll never meet a boring person there.
Well, I don't know about that. Whew.
They're all...
What's that, Lucia?
Oh, we had different Catholic school experiences.
Well, Katie's at a Catholic school now. But you went to Catholic grade school too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Lucia is in a public high school now, so it's a little bit different, but she did go to Catholic elementary school.
Yeah.
Wow. How was that adjustment?
Oh, the adjustment? Fine.
Well,
yeah.
Yes, thank God.
You were ready to not be Catholic?
I don't want to deal with the people from that school.
That's fair.
It's not an overall religious thing or religion thing.
It's more of a, more of a localized thing.
Yeah. Clicky, socialized. Yeah. Katie had a very similar experience. She was ready to be not around those people. So
my grade school was a hot mess. Those people scare me. The people who go to my high school, a good third of them scare me, but they still do enough interesting things to where I don't hate them. And then everyone else is just really entertaining.
Nice.
Yeah.
You do realize I'm sharing this on Facebook with all their parents, right?
I said absolutely nothing. I promise if you're seeing this, I love your child.
Oh, that's so funny. So
Can
good.
you cut that part out?
Maybe. If you're nice, you can wash my car. There you go. All right, Lucia. Yeah, I know you've seen Lovejoy in concert, right? Have you seen any? You've seen him 3 times. Okay, tell me the other people you've seen live.
Well, my first concert was Vance Joy with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like him anymore, but that was a big part of my life. Oh, who else have I seen?
Cavetown.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Well, I think Katie wants to talk about it.
Oh, no, I don't. We don't have to. We had a Cavetown phase.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had a deep, dark Cavetown phase.
We repressed that.
Yeah. we don't bring it up.
What?
It stays
Okay, hold on. I need to know, why are you repressing Cavetown? Is that the name of is it a band?
No, it's a person.
The person named Cavetown.
Well,
there's your first problem.
Name. The name of the artist is Cavetown. His name is Robbie.
Okay.
I don't know how to do.
I can describe
It was
Cavetown.
Oh, okay.
Go for it.
A little twink.
Whiny little twerp.
Oh, a whiny little twerp. Okay.
Now, okay, hold up before I get all sorts of hate mail. I only listened to Cavetown because Lucia really, really liked him. Okay.
Liked, past tense.
Liked. Okay. And to the point where, your uncle, my brother, bought overpriced second market tickets for us to go see him. And
it was a dark time.
And I suffered through that show. No, I mean, I can see why there's such an appeal. He's trans.
Okay.
And I'm thankful that Lucia found him when she did. And, I can see why he speaks to a wide group of people. Okay.
Sure.
The music itself is just, he's got some catchy lyrics and stuff, but it's a little too whiny and slow moving for me. And Lucia would ask to listen to him when we were in the car. I'm like, dude, I can't. We're driving a long distance. He's going to put me to sleep. So
it sounds to me like you're talking about a prepubescent national.
Okay, so we need to talk about the national too. But yes, okay.
Okay.
And although there are a couple songs that I did like, what's the one where he talks about doing karate?
Boys Will Be Bugs.
Boys Will Be Bugs.
Oh, okay. Boys Will Be Bugs is good.
But there's a funny part in there where, this little twerpy dude is talking about beating up other people because he does karate. And
oh, wow.
Yeah. So, okay.
Excellent.
So you've seen Cavetown twice.
Wow. You've seen Cavetown twice.
Oh.
This is going on permanent record on the internet. You know that, right?
No, I bought the tickets when I liked him and I wasn't going to just not go see him.
Cavetown is interesting because Cavetown was my quarantine phase.
Yeah.
Okay.
The end of quarantine, getting back into 8th grade was my Cavetown phase.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on tour and I was like, oh my gosh, we should go see. And then I didn't end up going, but I almost went to go see him.
Okay.
It was a whole thing.
Well, thank you for not taking me to see him.
Well, I got to see him, Katie.
That's a great face.
He's also said some questionable things on Twitter in 2016 or something. I don't know.
Who hadn't? That's what Twitter's for.
That's true.
Very good. And Katie, share a list of the people that you've seen.
Oh, God.
I took you to see Gracie Abrams. I'm proud of that. I've seen Gracie Abrams myself. I was in the bar with the parents, but I saw her. I was there.
I'm familiar with that situation.
I've seen Pink 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Gracie once. Well, twice if you count opening for Taylor.
Yeah.
I've seen Taylor. I've seen Phoebe opening for Taylor. I've seen Boy Genius. I've seen Claro. And I've seen Noah.
Okay. you're forgetting your first concert. Do you remember what your first concert was?
Fresh Beat Band.
The Fresh Beat Band, ladies and gentlemen.
Who's that?
Fresh Beat Band. I was there too. I went to see the Fresh Beat Band. This, if you guys don't know, do you know who the Fresh Beat Band is?
No.
Oh, the Fresh Beat Band was a Disney
TV show.
Nick Jr. or Disney TV show. And it was these 4 people. It was almost like Scooby-Doo without the dog. They had these adventures every day and they solved problems, but they always broke into song like annoying musicals do.
Oh,
And they were all pop and clever songs, and it was just for kids. And they did a tour. You were what? I don't know, 6, 5, something like that. And they played at the Palace here in Louisville. And so this was when her mother and I were still married, and we took her and her brother Grant, and we all went to see the Fresh Beat Band. And I couldn't convince Grant that the actors on stage were the actual actors from the TV show. He wouldn't believe it. He's like, that's not really them. That's like people who look like them. I'm like, no, that's them. That's the real people. The redhead had changed out. She was new, but the other 3 were the original cast. So the Fresh Beat Band.
I can understand that feeling so well, though. Like with a Lovejoy, the Wilbur, the love of my life. You can make that face all you want, but
no judgment. It's okay. It's okay.
Jason, when you asked Katie about her concerts, Lucia whispered to me, I wasn't done.
Oh, okay.
And then, so since we talked about the Fresh Beat Band, we'll also talk about how Lucia, I took her to see Kids Bop.
Hey, you weren't done. So did you say Kids Bop?
I did.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's good stuff right there.
If it makes you feel any better, my dream when I was 7 years old was to be a member of Kids Bop. I deeply in my soul wanted to be a member of Kids Bop. And I remember one of my cousins telling me, when you grow up, you'll understand why Kids Bop is so terrible. And I was like, no, they're just so good. And now I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So you weren't done. So what other shows have you been
Oh.
to?
Yeah, what other shows? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, it's okay. I saw Addison Grace with my dad. That was a fun show. I don't listen to their music anymore, but that was a fun show. I made friends. And who else? I think that might have been it.
And you have tickets to see who in March? Where you
Oh, I'm going to see Ricky Montgomery in March.
Oh,
Nice.
there we go. Where are you going? You got something coming up, don't you?
I'm going to see Noah Khan again in May.
Okay.
And then we're seeing Hozier and Noah Khan in June.
Right. Katie's going to Railbird with me. So we'll talk more about Railbird later in the show, but Railbird has freaking everybody. That's Chris Stapleton and Hozier and Noah Khan and Elle King, if she's sober enough to sing. And who else is going to be there? Dwight Yoakam.
I don't know off the top of my head, but there were a bunch of people.
Yeah, this is a good one. Marcus King, I think, is going to be there. Brent Cobb is going to be there. A bunch of folks we talk about that the girls probably don't really know who they are, but
it's okay.
It's good. It's going to be fun. And then I'm kind of surprised y'all haven't yelled at me about Bourbon and Beyond because they just announced that lineup too.
That's more like you than me.
It's okay.
The only person on there that I really know and or care about at all is Tyler Childers in the National.
Okay.
And that's like, I'm like, it's not worth it to go.
I think we're paying more to go see Tyler Childers by himself than we would pay to go to Bourbon and Beyond.
Well,
but that's because I'm insane and bought the wrong tickets, but that's okay.
Well, it's okay because I did that for Noah Khan. So
that's true. That's true. Okay. All right. So it's time for us to get out of the way and let the girls have a little Boy Genius party here. So who wants to go first about your love for Boy Genius?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Tell us all about Boy Genius. What do you love about him?
Should I leave?
You can move over. Okay. So
I'm just gonna be over here playing Candy Crush or something.
Okay. So Boy Genius. I heard about them this summer. That's when
summer?
No. This past summer.
Yeah.
Let her talk.
Yeah.
Sorry,
this past summer, I heard about them and I was aware of them and I've heard their music on the radio before. And then on my first day of school, I walk in to my world studies classroom and there's this person wearing a Boy Genius t-shirt. And I'm friends with them now. And they actually follow my mom on Instagram. But anyway, and we started talking about them and they were like, oh my God, you have to go home and listen to Boy Genius. Like, I don't care, go listen to Boy Genius. And I did. And I will forever appreciate that person for making me listen to Boy Genius.
Wow. What's their first name? Tell us their first name.
B.
B. Thanks, B. Okay. Well, good. Why do you like Boy Genius so much? What is it that connected for you?
Because, well, A, they're all my wives. B,
Duh.
yeah. B, their music is just so relatable. Like their songs are so mental breakdown worthy.
Real.
And like I love all of them individually.
Okay. All right, Katie.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay.
Tell me how you discovered Boy Genius, because I don't know that story.
To be honest, I really don't know. I think it was a combination of hearing about them, and I'd always known that Phoebe was in Boy Genius, and I've loved Phoebe for a while. And then one of my friends from theater was a diehard Boy Genius fan and in love with Julian Baker, and she would talk about Julian Baker all the time because she's a Julian girly. And so
that's the little one?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so she would talk about Julian, and then I would see a bunch of stuff about Boy Genius, and I knew that Phoebe was in it. And so when the record came out, I listened to it, and I fell in love with it. Like, the first time I listened to Letter to an Old Poet, I think my brain chemistry was altered forever.
Wow.
I don't think I have been the same since. I may be getting an Always an Angel, Never a God tattoo. Like, their lyrics are just so me.
Okay.
And I love them so much. And they're just the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you both have found a group to identify with like that. Go ahead, Lucia.
Your Letter to an Old Poet is my We're in Love.
So I went to go see Boy Genius at Reset in Columbus over the summer, and someone had cut up thousands of pieces of pink paper and passed them out to everyone, and we held them up, and I have it in my phone case now.
That's so cool.
And I carry it around everywhere, and it was the best thing in the world. Also, I was there for the moment when Phoebe, or was it Phoebe or Lucy? I don't know. One of them was like, "This looks like gay kindergarten homework." I was there.
Gay kindergarten.
My friend was there the first time that like they made out with each other on stage.
Oh, wow.
All sorts of emotions coming out here.
I'm forever jealous of you.
There we go.
That's incredible.
Can I ask what is the meaning of the pink paper?
Oh, Pink Carnations. It's in
Pink Carnations. It's a lyric.
Of the song.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Very good. Well, that's fantastic. I'm glad you guys have found a group to connect with like that. That's a part of the stories behind that we talk about are how we connected to artists and whatnot. And so good for y'all. I like them. And Katie has enlightened me to Boy Genius. I listened to the record as part of my exercise and going through my list of albums that we've talked about here on the show before. And I really liked it. They've got really good lyrics. I'm not in their target audience, so they don't hit me the same way they do the two of you. But I really like what they had to say, and their harmonies are fantastic. They really sound good. So,
do you want to tell the story about how when I first talked about Boy Genius to you?
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
Remember when we were...
You tell it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, because I'm old, the very fine details are probably fuzzy, but I had listened to Boy Genius on my own, like before Lucia really got into the band.
Oh, wait, is that when I said they're lesbians who make music for lesbians?
That might have been it. I had learned about Boy Genius through my various Facebook music groups, and it like the band's name just kept coming up over and over and over again. I said, I got to check this out. So I did, and then satellite radio too, like various channels play Boy Genius. So I would come across their songs, and I'm like, I like it. I dig it. I like the harmonies, and I like how everybody kind of plays a role. There's not like a lead singer, and then the backup. And so
Lucia will be the lead in my heart.
Yeah. So Lucia, she and I were in the car, and I'm like, so I really like this band Boy Genius, and I thought her head was gonna explode. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe my mom likes Boy Genius. And I'm like, well, what? Like, don't be mad. I thought that was something that we could like share together, But I think that just speaks to just the type of just their lyrics, that they are real, like True Blue, they're singing about the leaky faucet and, like sweat pooling on your top lip or whatever. And I'm like, that is very real, like very everyday mundane stuff that still can trigger some sort of emotion or memory for people,
Yeah.
So
And
that's my take.
And how when you moved to Chicago, you were spinning out.
When you moved
getting
to Chicago.
pissed about the humidity.
Yeah. Well, the humidity in Chicago is real. I get it. So that's my take as a parent.
Very good.
As an old lady.
Yeah. I will say I'm a little disappointed when you were going through the list of artists you've seen live. You didn't lay down the one that I took you to, the first one. Oh, I stumped her now. There's a girl downtown.
Oh, Hayes Carl.
I took Katie to see Hayes Carl. He was playing at Kentucky Country Day, which is a high school that's like 2 minutes from my house. And I happened to be driving down the street one day and I see a vinyl sign in the field outside of their property that says, April 2nd, Hayes Carl. And I almost ran off the road. I was like, what? Hayes Carl's playing right here? Are you kidding me? And so he did that 2 years in a row. The first year I wanted to take you and
I got sick.
You got sick. And then the next year he came back and I took you. And the reason is I would sing Girl Downtown because it says there's a girl downtown.
She's a real nice girl. Katie is her name.
Yeah, her name's name of the song is Katie. The boys call her Katie when they ask her on a date. So I would sing that to her as a lullaby to put her to sleep. And so when Hayes Carl came around, you were probably, 7 or 8 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
And I took her to see Hayes Carl. And on Instagram, I wore him out for 2 weeks. Please play Girl Downtown. I'm bringing my daughter. It's her first real concert. And sure enough, he played Girl Downtown. And we got to meet him after the show, which was very cool. So I'm going to see him in March with Brandy Clark at the Kentucky Center.
And you're not bringing me?
Well, not yet.
Okay.
Apparently, I'm going to have to change those tickets.
Work magic, Katie.
There you go. So, well, ladies, thank you for being on the show and letting us talk about you on the, well, you don't let us, but we talk about you on the show. Thank you for not killing us for doing so.
You're welcome.
Uh-huh. So, Lucia, thank you.
She just sort of shows up while we're recording.
Yeah.
So
I don't care.
Yeah, I know. You've been in a few shows before just because you walk by your mom. So
I'm typically not in the general vicinity.
Right.
But if I knew, I would insert myself and talk about Gracie Abrams 24/7.
Okay.
Well, it's her fault for setting up her recording studio right outside my room.
That's a problem. Yeah. If I were in like Grant's room upstairs and you could hear me doing this, you'd be in there all the time.
I would just be like, did you know that Gracie Abrams tour ended this week and I cried about it 4 times? It's true, I did.
Are those real numbers? Like, are those accurate?
I cried about it more than 4 times, but her tour did actually end this week in Australia. And I did cry about it multiple times because she posted a picture of this sign. She has a song called Where Do We Go Now? And she posted a picture of a sign a fan made on closing night that said, Where do we go now if this is home? And I saw that and I started bawling my eyes out. And then every time I think about that sign, I start crying. So
that's so
all right. So apparently we're going to have to clean up some waterworks here as my daughter cries. So
wait, I do have a question before you kick us off. Katie.
Yes.
You love Phoebe Bridgers?
Yes.
Answer me this. Riddle me this. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Which one do you like more? Stranger in the Alps or Punisher?
Oh, God. I'm going to go with Punisher.
Me too. That was the right answer.
Okay. That scared me.
This is award-winning podcasting right here, kids. This is
No
good shit.
Kidding. And before we kick them off, can we just briefly discuss our influence on our children's music, or at least their attire? Because, this Pearl Jam t-shirt is almost 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it at the year they played Lollapalooza, when Lollapalooza was still a traveling festival. I went to it twice.
Probably 94, around in there.
It might have been.
Yeah, 93, 94.
Maybe it is 30 years old. Oh my God.
Yep.
Okay, so that's my t-shirt, and she wears it to school. And
oh no, I don't wear it to school because it has a gun on it.
Well, no, it doesn't have a gun. It says
yes, it does.
Oh yeah, there on the picture. I thought you meant the writing on the back. But anyway, you have worn it before, and teachers like commented, right? They're like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" Or was that Mr. T?
That was Mr. T.
He pities the fool.
But my Mr. Roach has commented on my Drive by Truckers.
Oh yeah, and she likes to wear my concert shirts to school. So
nice.
You also have my Jason Isbell shirt on, and one of her teachers commented.
My
on
drama
that.
teacher.
So Yeah. So I think we're doing a great job, Jason. We're doing a great job introducing them to good music and letting them find their own groups and people, and just being open to their likes and dislikes, and being able to talk about it, right? Because as parents of teenagers, we know that it takes a lot sometimes to get them to talk to us.
That's true. Katie and I definitely have a lot more conversations about music than we have about other things, I think, these days. Yeah. That's good. I actually have the opposite effect kind of thing with Katie, because she doesn't wear my music-based shirts, but she is the one, and our loyal podcast listeners know this, who wanted me to wear a Phoebe Bridgers shirt to the Ryan Adams show, which got canceled, so I couldn't.
Yeah. I was very bitter when I found out you were going to Ryan Adams' show. And so I spent a solid hour looking on Etsy for the perfect Phoebe shirt to make you wear. Like, I was dedicated.
I love that, though.
Yeah, well, the show got canceled. I didn't get to go. And who knows if I'll ever get to see him. Who knows?
That's the man that Motion Sickness was written about. Like, you can't.
I'm aware. But Ryan Adams has his own thing of music that I like for other reasons. So
it's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, but you could like Motion Sickness more.
And Jason Isbell has a song about Ryan Adams. It's called Chaos and Clothes.
Okay. Well, I don't know if anybody just heard that. Say that again.
It's okay to be wrong.
Right.
Karen's going to love me.
We'll close with that. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Right. We appreciate you.
Sorry, Karen.
Are you already on top of us?
Yeah, we're getting rid of you. You're out. Go upstairs and stop interrupting your mother.
I didn't even get to talk about dragging her to 2 Lovejoy shows.
Well, go ahead. I'll add it in. Talk about dragging her to 2. Didn't you drag your mom to 2 Lovejoy shows?
Yeah. Yes, I did. She's been to 2 Lovejoy shows.
And I didn't hate them.
Yeah, I know. She likes Lovejoy. It's on her classroom playlist.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
You have a classroom playlist? You like to do playlists for your kids?
Yeah. At the beginning of the year, I tell my students, all my classes, to submit requests, and I curate a playlist based on what they submit. And
are they all Spanish-based songs?
No. I don't only teach Spanish, I teach English as well. So
okay.
As long as the song is school appropriate, I'll include it on the playlist. And the kids, they all ask for it. Like if we're doing independent work or quiet time or whatever, they're like, can you play the playlist? Sure thing. So I take their requests, and then of course I put in some of my favorites, because if I'm going to listen to it, I want to hear what I like too. So
and I've added something.
Yeah. So Lucia she's a former student of mine. So she provided some requests, a couple of which were Cave Town that I have since removed from the playlist. But yeah, so I've included a couple of Lovejoy songs in the playlist.
The only bad thing about the Lovejoy shows are people need to learn concert etiquette, because a 5 or a 6-foot man should not be in front of me where I cannot see anything after waiting in line for 6.5 hours.
I have the most foul story about this. I went to go see Boy Genius, and I was standing behind a group of friends, okay? And all of them were tall, but I swear this man was 6'5", and it was a straight man at a Boy Genius show. A 6'5" straight man at a Boy Genius show standing right in front of me. And I was like, why would a man be there? Why are you here? Leave. Or at least stand behind me so that I can see my wives. Get out of my way.
Exactly. Yeah. No, with this Lovejoy show, he was with his daughter, and I can understand that, but the daughter was 6 foot too. And I was with my friend, and she is like almost 6 foot, and then she had platforms on, and even she could not see over this man.
Oh, geez. Oh, that's a really tall dude.
That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
So go ahead, go find each other on the socials and continue.
Okay, I'll be doing that.
I'm going to sit here and bemoan the fact that it's hard to be a straight white man anymore.
Yeah, because you kind of suck sometimes.
Katie said, why would a straight man be at a Lovejoy, or not Lovejoy, Boy Genius show? And you said, this is not for you. I think that goes against everything that we believe about the arts, right? Shouldn't it be for everyone?
Yeah, but like if you're gonna be tall at a Boy Genius show, it goes against what they're singing about. So
if you're gonna be tall at a Boy Genius show, at least be gay and tall. You know what I mean? Like,
that's another one for the bumper sticker collection.
There you go.
Oh yeah. I feel like I'm about to get canceled on the internet for this.
No, you're not going to get canceled. I'll make sure.
No. You'll get
No.
fan mail.
No, when I'm rich and famous, is anything I said now going to come back and bite me?
Yeah. Yeah. That
Yeah.
whole caveman thing or whatever that guy's name was.
Hopefully this doesn't prohibit my ability to get into college.
Probably not.
I promise I don't hate straight people.
Anything I said here was not used against me. I did not mean anything I said today.
You didn't say anything incriminating.
This was all ironic, I swear.
Legal disclaimers don't count because I'll edit them out. So you're screwed. There you go.
You might not be able to run for political office, but I don't think it'll harm your chances of getting into college.
I don't plan on doing that anyways. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. All right, girls, go away.
Okay, bye.
That was fun, wasn't it? When we come back on the program, we'll have our Pickin and Grinnin section. That's where Francesca and I go through the artists, the songs, the albums that we pick that have been making us grin lately. Recommendations for you coming up. Stay tuned. This is Roots Music Rambler. Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. We're at the final point in the show where we do our Pickin the Grinnin segment. That's the segment where Frank and I talk about the acts, the songs, the artists, the albums, the shows, etc. that we pick that have been making us grin lately. So stuff we like. Might be new, might be old. It's just stuff that we're listening to. We've already covered a lot on this show because I told you guys about my big album splurge on Friday night. So I've been listening to a lot of old, rock and pop stuff, but I've found a couple new artists, but I want to throw it at Francesca first. Frank, what you been listening to?
Why do I always have to go first? But
Because
anyway.
I bring us back from break. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Okay. So I have been listening to Sierra Farrell a lot more.
Nice.
And she's got a new record coming out. Wait, is it out? I can't remember the release date, but there are some singles on Spotify. I know. I've liked her for some time now, but never really explored all of her stuff. But she, her voice is gorgeous. She plays, the fiddle, and she is just, her style is so over the top, personal style.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing that I could ever wear or attempt. So it's kind of fun to just see what she's got going on. And she recently made her network TV debut. She was on Jimmy Kimmel.
Nice.
She and her band did Fox Hunt, which is an awesome song. Two fiddles in that song. So yeah. So I've been listening to Sierra a lot more. And in fact, when we did our top 5 songs of 2023, one of the songs I picked is Holy Roller, which she does with Zach Bryan.
Right.
And I don't know if Zach Bryan did that song by himself or with someone else, if I would like it as much.
Yeah.
But it's a good song. I love the lyrics, but her voice and Zach Bryan's are so different, but they still complement each other very well.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Sierra Farrell. And I mentioned earlier, she's got 2 shows in Chicago coming up that I'm going to have to somehow get a ticket. I'll pay more money, but I really, really, really want to go see her. I want to see her live. That's
great. Yeah. I haven't really gotten deeply into her. I've heard a few things, and I know the album's coming out, and of course, that's going to be on my list of the 60-second album reviews coming up soon, I'm sure, which leads me to kind of my Pickin the Grinnin. The one that I just a couple of weeks ago on the channel posted a 60-second review of is my fellow Kentuckian Britt Taylor, whose album is called Kentucky Blue. In my 60-second album review, I said 3 notes into the first song I was hooked, and that's not a lie. It was one of those, almost like a Tyler Childers song where you hear the first couple of notes and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be good. And I loved the whole album. I mean, it's just really good. Now, I'm biased. She's from Hindman, Kentucky, which is about 30 minutes or so from my hometown. And so I would consider her a homie in Eastern Kentucky, a mountain girl. And there's just this really great blend of country music with bluegrass influences. She's actually doing a bluegrass version of the album now.
A la Sturgill.
With another band, and I'm going to see them by the time this episode comes out, I will be seeing them, I think, next weekend, or it might be that weekend. I'm taking my daughter and Karen with me because we're going to Lexington to the Burl to see the Kentucky Bluegrass album or debut, which will be the Kentucky Blue, kind of in a bluegrass format. So I'm really excited about that. She has written with Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys. This album is produced by Sturgill Simpson. I highly recommend it. I actually went down to a couple of weeks ago to my guest room record store here in Louisville, and they had autographed copies of it.
Oh,
So I have a signed copy of her album too. So
nice.
I'm almost as in love with this album as I am with Joy Oladokun's. I love that one. I've talked about that gratuitously on the show already, but I'm loving Britt Taylor. And then the other one, I kind of got thrown a curveball the other day. I've heard of this band. I've heard maybe a song or two, but a friend of mine reached out and said, hey, I'm actually connected to Whiskey Myers and might be able to work with them on a project or something in the future. And I was like, hey, can you get them on the show? I'd love to have them on the podcast. And he said, well, I'll see what I can do. So I don't know that that's going to happen, but I've started listening to more Whiskey Myers to just be more familiar with them because I've heard the name. I've heard a couple songs.
Right.
And so I just put them on Spotify the other day on my drive over to Karen's house and really liking their stuff. They're a really good, kind of Americana country-ish band, some good songs. So I would recommend if you haven't heard Whiskey Myers yet, go check them out too. So those are my two for this week.
All right. And Whiskey Myers, I thought it was just one person.
No, I think it's a band. I haven't done the reading and the research on them yet. I've been listening to them, and they've got some good tunes. I mean,
I'm sure you're right. It just, like seeing the name Whiskey Myers, I thought it was just one person.
Nah, I don't think anybody's bold enough to name their kid Whiskey. Maybe your dog or your horse, but not a kid. I don't think so. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Roots Music Rambler is a production of Falls and Partners. Copyright 2024. Our theme music is Sheepskin and Beeswax by Genticorum. Join us online at rootsmusicrambler.com. We got merch now. You can go store, buy some t-shirts and stuff and stickers and all that stuff up there at rootsmusicrambler.com. Get on that. Make sure you mash that subscribe or follow button so you remember to join us for the next Hoe-Down and Throwdown. She's Frank.
He's Falls.
And whatever you do, kids, ramble on.